New York City is falling apart. The concrete jungle is experiencing some unrest, and I'm here to talk about it today. Now, we all know theft is a problem. That's the reason that a lot of stores have focused on doing online retail instead of physical. Brick and mortar is just a thing of the past now because you can walk in and walk out with stuff you didn't pay for. It's really that simple. The ones that aren't trying to focus on online retail are desperately trying to prevent theft by utilizing different safety features that have made the consumer experience objectively worse. The other day I went to a CVS and there was a fridge of Red Bull and the fridge was locked. You had to press a button on the fridge to get a customer service representative to walk down to the fridge and open it for you just so you could overpay for a Red Bull due to inflation. Love it! Don't you guys feel so happy that, you know, we can't just overpay for shit anymore? You have to literally press a button to get someone to unlock the fridge that's been locked because of crime to then overpay for this shit. Oh my god, I love it. Thanks whoever caused this. I don't know. I don't know whose fault it is. People blame Biden, people blame the Federal Reserve and stuff, rising wages, who knows? Whoever's fault it is, hey, middle finger, bro. 39 stores are leaving New York City because of theft. The problem is that theft is sometimes necessary for some people, and that might sound like a bad take, but if you are put in a position where you can choose to either risk getting arrested or feed your children, you're gonna go to the grocery store and steal some food. Now, that is often a thing that gets brought up to justify other types of theft. Like, people like to justify theft broadly by bringing up that example, and it's definitely fallacious because that's not what theft normally looks like. Normally, it looks like someone ransacking the makeup aisle, taking $300 worth of products, shoving it in their pants and running out to then sell the stuff they just stole on like Facebook Marketplace. And so yes, obviously in the case that I mentioned, the hypothetical, would it be morally justifiable? I would say yeah, but the fact that there's so much theft that it's causing stores to shut down leads me to believe it's not just people taking essentials, it's people definitely just doing the Facebook Marketplace method.
The NYPD is looking for several suspects in a drugstore burglary pattern.
Police say the suspects were involved in 8 different incidents where they tried to break into pharmacies by breaking their glass doors or rolling down those heavy security gates.
Great, just what we need, a new robbery pattern targeting pharmacies in New York, many of which are having problems staying open. With Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid closing a combined 40 locations in 2024 alone, leaving New York with about half the number of pharmacies it had just 10 years ago.
Now, obviously, as you can imagine, the take here is that this is bad. This is not a good thing that the pharmacies are closing, because pharmacies not only supply you with sunblock and snacks and whatever, you need to go to pharmacy to get your prescription for the incurable disease that you have. And while this does hurt everybody, a lot of the people that are going to be negatively affected by this are people that are already struggling with some sort of medical condition. We're talking about chronic illness, right? We're talking about depression. We're talking about things where having a CVS right beside you and being able to pick up a prescription is life-changing, or saving, I should say.
Or our leaders thought it would be a good idea to stop sending thieves to jail where they belong.
We've spoken to several managers at various drugstores around New York City. Though none would go on camera, all tell us they've seen an increase in thefts.
Millions of dollars in stolen goods seized in Queens and put on display for the cameras. The thieves had an eye for cosmetics, beauty products, designer clothing, and accessories.
The shoplifting concerns are part of...
This is what we do now. We just film these people like it's a spectacle and we don't actually cuff them. This is how the law has changed, and I think it's been changed in several places. I know in San Francisco, there was a law that changed the punishment for a certain type of stealing. They reclassified it from a felony to a misdemeanor, which resulted in a slap on the wrist punishment instead of something that would actually deter people from stealing. And so you're left with circumstances where people are just holding the phone to the crime, looking in awe as someone takes hundreds of dollars worth of shit instead of doing something about this, right? And why would you do something about this when you might get charged with assault, which actually does get punished? If you think you're doing the right thing by apprehending this person who's committing a crime or getting in the way of him stealing, you know, by physically blocking off the shit he's trying to take, you unironically could get in trouble for assault, which I think kind of shows you how backwards shit is.
Already gone.
The thing with makeup specifically is I saw somewhere it's one of the highest ROI items to steal, because not only are they widely sold, you can find makeup in Target, Walmart, CVS, a lot of places sell makeup, but they're also very small and easy to shove into your pocket, your purse, your pants. And if you can get like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 things on your person as you exit the store not paying for it, you can flip that into a good amount of profit. So obviously at this point, people don't give enough of a shit to even be discreet about it, which I kind of liked. I liked that there was a bit bit of novelty to shoplifting. Like, it was sort of like a, ooh, I'm so bad. Teehee. Like, you used to have to be a little bit like shameful and guilty when you shoplifted, you know, you'd put one little thing in your pocket, and then, you know, if you got caught, you'd be like, oh, did I forget to pay for this? And then you'd pay for it. But now people have stopped giving a fuck at all. It's their full-time job to steal. They walk into CVS, scoop buckets of makeup shit into their Santa Claus sack, walk out, and then they sell it. And I don't like that. I liked when stealing was like a cute little thing that people would do from time to time, and there was like a shamefulness to it that society imposed. Now no one gives a fuck. You just sit there and record it like it's, you know, a magic trick. Like, it's not even cool anymore. Maybe the magic trick is a bad example. People love magic tricks. It's more like a sunset. You know, like you film a sunset. It's like some shit that everyone's used to by now.
Gail and Sean Martez have been getting their prescriptions filled at this Walgreens for at least a year. They believe shoplifting played a role in the store's closure.
They have it locked up because sometimes they get boosters that come in there and steal their stuff.
I don't know if they're stealing it from here or they're stealing it from another place.
Those plexiglass screens and those tags that are going off when you walk out of the store without paying for something are only stopping the people that I mentioned earlier that are trying to sneak one little goodie out of the store. It's not going to stop the people that are fully masked up and have made it their full-time job to steal shit. And so ultimately what that does is it does like a reverse min-max where you have people that aren't stealing basically inconvenienced by the fact that there are these deterrents that are going to try to stop thieves. So they're mad, but the madness that the customers are experiencing isn't actually worth what you're saving in money because you're not. Because the people that are going to steal are still stealing. Stealing is up, not down.
So, nearly half of New York City's drugstores have disappeared over the last decade as retail theft continues running rampant. But what nobody's talking about is all of these pharmacy closures. They're happening 1 year after our leaders promised to get tough on shoplifting, a promise many businesses are still waiting for them to keep. And sadly, if you walk through any pharmacy in town, you'll be greeted with all the signs that the high crime environment afflicting our stores is here to stay, with locations throughout New York locking up their products because here we won't lock up our criminals. Because stealing here's been decriminalized, making New York a breeding ground for professional criminals who take things that aren't theirs and then sell them on the internet or on the side of the street somewhere. Perpetually funding illegal retail arbitrage businesses that will exist as long as shoplifting here remains a non-jailable misdemeanor.
Another issue is that if you think it's easy to hunt these people down just by looking at this, like if you see a blanket laid out with all of these items that are coincidentally also missing from the CVS down the street, you might think, well, obviously the guy running this little operation's the criminal. No, oftentimes these people who are selling it on the mats get this stuff for a much lower price from the people that just stole it because they're trying to get rid of the hot items. Hot meaning stolen. So they'll sell these in bulk to people that are willing to take the risk and know how bad it looks to be selling all this stuff. And the people selling this stuff pay like pennies on the dollar. And if they get asked like, hey, where'd you get this? You can say, well, I got it from this person. But when they say this person, it's usually some fake phone number. It's untraceable. You can't find the guy they got it from. And they can always plead ignorance because, you know, obviously they did know that it was hot, but they can just be like, oh, I didn't know. He said that his dad worked at a hardware store or some shit like that, right?
Provided it's peaceful shoplifting that doesn't escalate to a physical altercation with another person. As for some reason, our criminal sympathizer leaders don't think destroying security barriers or cutting security tags counts as violent behavior. And that brings us to the real reason why New York is losing so many pharmacies, leaving many neighborhoods without a viable alternative to get things like prescription medication or everyday basic items. Many of these businesses were already struggling for a variety of reasons, and as retail theft continues to creep up, it erodes whatever was left in the store's margins, leaving them no choice but to shut down.
And the thing that sucks too is that CVS's and pharmacies like them are oftentimes open like 24 hours, which is a very needed system to have in place for a lot of reasons. Like there has to be a place somehow in modern day that you can go to at any time of the day or night and get a Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? Like a late night Gatorade, it just has to be a thing in modern society. If you're alone on a Friday night and it's 3 a.m. and you're feeling miserable, just driving to CVS and getting a frozen pizza is gonna save you from a night of misery. Or enhance it depending on if you have an eating disorder. My point is, these are businesses that we need. The case didn't have to be made, but the fact that they're shutting down, I think is now pretty eye-opening. The solution solution isn't for them to stop selling the products that are being stolen, because if you were in charge, maybe you would think, well, okay, if they're stealing makeup, let's just ditch the makeup. Well, first of all, that's not fair to everyone who wants to buy makeup. And second of all, you're not addressing the root of the issue. They'll just find more shit to steal. The root of the issue is these people are incentivized to steal because of the money that it makes and the lack of risk they're actually taking, because the risk is that they get a misdemeanor, which is a slap on the wrist. The same wrist they have now iced out because of the margins they're accomplishing by stealing.
I think Walgreens alone did 22 times last year, leaving it with just 189 locations left in New York. However, as you're about to see, retail theft isn't just a problem for pharmacies that end up closing. It also raises the cost of living for every New Yorker, even those who already buy everything online from places like Amazon, revealing that as criminals loot and destroy these businesses, they're actually destroying New York.
This, but it is unfortunately the case that if you are being stolen from, to offset the losses you're enduring, you have to now increase the price of products for consumers. So they are now bearing the brunt of the theft that you had to deal with, which is so fucked on so many levels. Because I hear people say that they don't care if like big businesses like CVS are getting stolen from, because they will still be fine even if they're shutting down, let's say 14 locations in a certain state. And the answer is yes, like they will still be fine. They are in some ways too big to fail and provide an essential service. But ultimately, although if you are the type of person that wants to stick it to the rich and thinks that the stealing is actually kind of based because it's fucking with their bottom line, the reality is no, it's fucking with everybody because everybody is paying more. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the people at the top are going to make sure it doesn't affect their bottom line by making customers pay more, which is like a triple dog dare fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not good, and it's not anti-rich for sure. These people aren't like these Luigi Mangione type vigilante figures that are actually making it better for you or making a point. They are literally as capitalists as the people that run the businesses, these CEOs. The thieves and the CEOs are just as eager to make profit, I promise.
So New York City has obviously got a lot of former retail storefronts that have been shut down. But if you want to see what out of control retail theft is really doing to the city, take a look at the stores that are still open. Like this one, where pretty much everything is locked up behind plexiglass, except for low-demand products nobody's buying right now in New York, like sunscreen. Look at this. Even the picture of the product that is here, so you don't steal the actual product, even it's locked up, so you don't steal the picture. But on top of all this in-store security, you'll also see something else, a blinking camera array on the top of this CVS, with flashing lights meant to scare criminals into thinking the police could be inside, or at least watching. But sadly, none of this security is having the intended effect because our stores are still shutting down.
I think at this point, we're going to get to a level where the AI facial recognition technology is a must. And if you get caught stealing something, a laser will dice you into 64 cubes of flesh laid out on the floor of the CVS. The custodians will take these cubes into the trash chute where you will now be incinerated. That's kind of what we need to happen, you know? Like, I wouldn't mind an overcorrection. I really wouldn't. Like, I don't steal. Like, I don't steal from stores. If you took like $100 worth of shit and then you legitimately got arrested, like, I don't think I would feel bad. I guess circumstantially, you know, never say never, right? But the point is, I think we're at a level where the leniency is so high, I don't think overcorrecting would be bad.
It's terrible what's going on.
Rafael and Sean Martez have been getting their prescriptions filled at this Walgreens for at least a year. They believe shoplifting played a role in the store's closure.
I have seen it happen right in front of my face. This man just came in, grabbed a whole bunch of makeup stuff that was on the side, and just ran out. Security.
So, as you can tell from all this security plastic, these places are getting robbed constantly, sometimes right in front of paying customers. And look at all the cracks around this product locker here on this Tide. It's almost as if somebody tried to tamper with this and break through it to get at the products underneath. And before we get into the unstoppable proportions this crime wave has now reached, look at who the real victims are from all this stealing. Now, of course, the store itself is a victim of crime, obviously, but the people who live near a place like this, they're the ones that suffer the most, because after a store like this is gone, where do they go to get the things they need and have reliable decide on buying from it on a weekly basis. And what about the people that work at a place like this? Once it's gone, where are they going to work? Now, yes, every time a store like this shuts.
Yeah, that's another great point. You know, the people that are working there and need the money to live, they are now fucked. If you were working at a Walgreens 5 minutes from your house that is now shut down due to shoplifting, there's no guarantee that the Walgreens that's 15 minutes away is going to have room for you to work. And if you are able to work there, that's now a longer commitment to and from work, making your work days longer, and you have to spend more money on gas, etc. It is not good. I mean, no shit, Sherlock, right? I mean, I think this video is shining the reality on how hard the problem hits several different groups, and that's something that the soft on crime people, I just don't think appreciate. How this actually does with very average people.
Down over crime, the brand always says that they'll do everything they can to redeploy their workforce to other locations. But that just hurts everybody, because now the people who work at those other locations are going to have less hours because there's now a surplus of workers. If the workers that were at a store that closed can even get to whatever location they've been redeployed to. But even if the workers can get to the new location, so can the criminals. In fact, they ride around on the subway here for free because we don't care about fare evasion either. And that's the real problem here, because if customers...
That's another thing with New York City. I believe I saw a number like $32 million of toll fees were avoided in either 2022, 3, or 4. And again, like, obviously the $2 Metro card thing is not gonna make or break the subway system, but $32 million worth of it might do a little damage. It might draw some eyeballs. And the attitude that this is sort of okay, or that it's like the norm, which we know is the case because of these numbers, which shows you that it's normalized, needs to change. And this video is fucking proof.
Need a new store to shop at, and workers need a new store to work at. Criminals, they're gonna need a new store to steal from, and everybody's gonna end up at whatever store is still hanging on. And hanging on is definitely the best way to describe it. After one Upper East Side pharmacy closed, the sole surviving location said that they were getting robbed once an hour. And as you're about to see, closing stores is not gonna put a stop to New York City's theft problems at all. In fact, it's only gonna make it worse.
Another guy, while he was chasing him, stole candy.
And it's like nothing is being done.
So do you feel like it's getting bolder?
Yeah, it definitely is getting bolder.
Walgreens said only economic headwinds are making it too difficult to cover.
So the reason it seems like theft is getting more out of control and thieves are getting bolder and more brazen is because they have to. You've got the same number of criminals, but now you've got fewer stores to steal from. Like this scene.
Which is so funny. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but in a lot of ways, that is the funniest sort of manifestation of capitalist behavior I've ever seen. The supply from stores to steal from is not meeting the demand, so the stores that can be stolen from are experiencing higher competition from criminals. So criminals and thieves are gonna have beef with each other because they're gonna try to hit the same store for more shit than the other guy. It's a pretty high competition career path if you want to think about it like that. The criminals are gonna put the fucking criminals out of business. They're gonna keep one-upping each other until there's nothing left to steal. And then one of them is gonna go home and make themselves an oxygen sandwich. It's cooked.
CVS right here, its theft problems definitely got worse after the Walgreens, which was across the street, shut down. When that happened, any crime that was taking place split between the two stores now all has to happen at just one store. And you can tell from the lack of rust and dings in the paint on these cabinets that many of them are a recent installation here. And not only are many of these aisles completely walled off on both sides, you've also got that blinking security camera. The store's literally doing everything it can to deter crime. And that's because any surviving store is under more pressure now than it's ever been, and there's no way out from any of this. Unless, of course, laws were to be passed that made crime again. But since that's not happening, every single thing you see here are the last moves of a store that probably won't be here forever. But you know, the real problem is all of this product security. It doesn't just deter thieves, it also deters customers.
These plexiglass screens and all these other inconveniences that are added to customers who are simply there to make a purchase creates additional friction, and friction is the death of retail.
Walgreens.
While there is no plexiglass screen when you're checking out on Amazon, there is no button to get a customer service representative to your spot on Amazon. He makes a great point. Like, it may sound silly, but if you are put between two options, one is a smooth customer experience and the other is not, you're gonna pick the one that's smooth. And these thieves have made it so that all these deterrents the stores have put in place to stop thieves have suppressed the mood of shoppers, and ultimately it's going to leave them them disenfranchised with the current state of buying shit. And you know, they might just buy their shit online.
Said in a statement,
friction is the death of retail. He's 100% right, and if it takes longer to buy things in a physical store, less people are going to put up with that. But it's not just the inconvenience factor that's a big deal here. All this security costs money. It's not free, because every time somebody wants to buy something, they need a human to help them get it, and that costs money. And that money can only come from one place. Just look at the price of this deodorant. It's absolutely expensive, almost $20, when a 3-pack of the exact same stuff costs $23 on Amazon right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, in no universe should a stick of deodorant be more than $5, more than $3, honestly. And it's just all cooked. I don't know, but something needs to change. If I was in charge, man, if I was in charge, something would change. I don't know how I would do it, but I would be like, yeah, this needs to change. So the people that aren't changing it, I got some questions for them. Anyway, though, if you guys want to watch the rest of the video for yourself, I'll link it down below. It's a good one. And with that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.